Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing Ride 4, and we're going to be finally looking at the settings. So, I don't know much about settings, I'm still getting used to it, but these are the default settings, and we're just going to go and see what we can do. I am only going to focus on suspension settings for this video. We'll look at transmissions and everything else, perhaps in another video. So we're going to be rocking the Marco Simoncelli Honda CBR 1000RR 2008 model, the Fireblade. And this is going to be my first 3 laps on the default basic settings. Usually what I play with, I don't tend to tweak the settings too much. I don't really understand enough about them to warrant me fiddling with them, I guess you could say. But these are one of my first 3 laps are going to be on the standard default preset here in Tsukba. I think I pronounce that wrong every time, and if someone knows how to pronounce it in the comment section below and can explain it in text, be sure to let me know. Tsukba, Tsukba, whatever I say, it's probably wrong. But as I mentioned, default settings, and I customised the Marco Simoncelli livery myself. I did the bike and someone else did the leathers, which is fantastic. So run it into a little bit deep there for turn 1 on my first attempt. I must say I did 30 laps on this track to try and figure out what would be the best setting. And as you can see, pretty consistent so far. I think I'll take a look at the end to see how consistent we are with the lap times as well. This is going to be a long video, so I hope you're prepared. Or you can watch it in parts, I guess. However you like to watch my content, it's entirely up to you. Hopefully you watch it all, of course. Second lap, a little bit more successful, but into the second sector. As we now approach the final corner, dropping down from 250 kilometers per hour, holding the line at 120, exiting turn 10 at 12 o'clock in Japan, so we're actually a little bit slower at that time. So I actually incorporated a lot of manual gearing in this one. I tend to play automatic gear, or semi-automatic let's say. And I tend to do the downshifts myself, and I leave the upshifts to do on the game, because I find that when I'm trying to record, commentate, and shift upwards and downwards is a little bit difficult. Sometimes it just helps me out. And of course, with me trying to do content every single day, learning the manual gears is not something I'm really thrilled about doing at the moment. So, the first lap out of the 3 that we're going to try in these basic settings was the most successful. Unless we can claw any time back here, I doubt it. The first 3 laps concluded. Best lap so far, 54.079. So now we're going to increase the preload front and rear both up to 8. And we're going to see how well this does. So 4th lap, preload increased. Both the front and the rear preload, of course. Now, to do every single setting with every single combination would take me probably around 100 laps, maybe more. So I'm not going to do every single lap or every single setting. I mean, if you want that, I guess I don't mind doing it. It's just it'll take me a long time, and it's it's taken me long enough to do this one. But I can honestly say, riding around the same track for about 30 plus laps was quite fun. But already on this lap, it's hard to say whether I think I'm going quicker because it's my 4th lap and you obviously get quicker as you go, or if it's the actual suspension change that actually helped. It's hard to say, but this is going to improve upon my 57.079. It is now a 53.992. As we gear down to first gear, I found it was much easier to drop down to first gear than dropping into second. We get a lot better drive there. As we increase on a 10th into the second sector. Fire out beautifully out of turn 4, lining up for turn 5. A little bit wide. I like to take a more of a tighter line to that one, but still works out so far. A little bit too much throttle there. Spinning the rear. 0.2 of a second gained. 1 drag to the line for the final corner. This lap time, a little bit out of shape on the brakes, but we still have it. Gradually bring the throttle on, pushing as far as we can, and it is a 53.752. Another improvement. A little bit out of shape there on the rumble strip. Can we keep the front end down? This Honda likes to wheelie, let me tell you. So 1,000th of a second down. I'm sure we can claw that back. There's that tighter line I was talking about. Clip the end of the rumble strip. Use the strength of the Honda. 67,000th. A little bit wide into turn arm, which is not necessarily a bad thing because you can get the exit like so. The front tyre is extremely hot in that couple of laps. Can we make a third consecutive improvement? We cannot. It's going to be a little bit off. So now we're going to change the spring hardness. We're going to make the front and rear up to about 8. Going to improve it once again. Hopefully, we improve again. Now at this point, and compared to the last time when I used the Kawasaki 6XR, which I never actually did the video on, because I literally seen no difference in the lap times whatsoever, by a 10th, 2/10, 3/10, maybe either way. That's it. And I was beginning to feel that this is going to do the same thing, because I left the Ghost on. Usually I kind of turn it off for some of the time trial to do, but I never really found that I was getting quicker because of the settings. I just found I was getting quicker because I was pushing it a little bit more harder, or I'm pulling off a little bit earlier, or I never felt like I rid the exact same way all the way through it. But the lap times are very similar all the way through, pretty much. But we are going to improve here. So 153.678. Luckily they didn't invalidate my lap there, actually. Quite grateful for that as we make a mistake into turn 1. And as you can see, the front tyre, hot yet again. Hotter than my content. I kid. But into turn 5. Flick it left turn 6. My favourite part of the track. It's so good. A little bit of slide there on the exit. I'm using the front medium and the rear soft. Wood into turn 10, yet again, for the 8th time of asking. And we're not going to improve here, it's still going to be a 53.678 to beat, which is already a good improvement. As we run it wide into turn 1, hopefully it doesn't compromise too much of the exit. A little bit over the rumble strip there, not ideal, but it is what it is. Aiming for the rumble strips all the time to use as guides to position the bike. Big wheelie yet again over the rumble strip. I'm aiming for it, not over it. Nice. Can we get the acceleration correct? We cannot. We are far down against the British Ghost. On board the Honda. 360 kilometers I've ridden on this bike so far. I love that little feature. If you're not sure where that is and where I'm seeing that, it's bottom right hand corner underneath the speedometer. So here we go, another lap complete, but this time not successful. Invalid. Whoops. Still counts. So front shock absorber, rebound and compression is going to increase to 8 again. I'm not going to push them to full, we're roughly going for about 8. I'm trying to get a balance without making everything too ridiculous. But as I say, the amount of actual suspension changes, the amount of different styles and tweaks you can do, there'd been just no end of laps to do on all the suspension settings, and I didn't really find one that was particular for me. But I think one of these stuff like this it's just down to your preference. I did actually find a setting I liked, but I can't say it'd work for everyone because every bike is different and every rider rides different. As we got a little bit too wide, that is an invalidated lap. But at that point, I might as well just continue, cross the line, count that lap, and then restart it. So a 53.678 is still to beat. Can we beat the 53.678? We seem to be getting close every time, but 3 or 4 laps gone and we still haven't got really that close to it yet. 28 degrees in Japan, it says in the bottom left hand corner. Still 12 o'clock, time has frozen. I didn't want the temperature to change or the time to change, then it'd give us inaccurate results. Push out of turn 9. Approaching turn 10 yet again. On board the Honda. Rocking the Dainese leathers with a Marco Simoncelli helmet. Coming out of turn 10, we have improved. A 1:53. Sorry, there's no 1 minute. A 53.588. I had to restart the lap there because I thought that was the last one, and I had to restart again. So, lap 11 was our fastest lap. Once lap 12 is complete, this section is over, and we will move on to the next setting. Doing 3 laps per setting. I think that's roughly fair. I think to actually get a good feel of all these suspension settings, you would have to do a lot more laps, but I'm conscious of the video's length. It's already going to be quite a long one. Turn 10. Can we claw in on the Ghost? Now we did really well last time with the Ghost. Well, the Ghost's lap did really well. It's going to be... no, we did not improve. Of course we didn't. So rear shock absorber, rebound and compression, we will bump that up to 8 as well. And that means that every single setting there on suspension is up to 8. Will this make a difference? Will this improve? Or will it have a negative effect? And you will see, even with all those settings changed, we are still getting roughly the same lap times. The only thing I could say felt different, but it could have been a placebo effect because I've changed the settings. It felt a little bit different. It felt a little bit more agile and a bit more nimble. So, I would say the only thing that the setting changed, it does not make your bike go quicker. It does not make your bike go faster or slower. In my opinion, it's how you feel on the bike. That's what changes the lap times. If you felt more comfortable, if you felt worse off, I would say that's what these settings are there for. I don't think the game accurately depicts what the settings do. I might be wrong. I might be totally wrong. But that was my opinion anyway, from this instance. And after a good 30 laps or so, I felt I had a good judge on the settings. I could say roughly what I didn't like and didn't like, and to be honest with most of it I liked. There wasn't really any change in the sense of like, oh, I hated that one, can't wait to get off that one. Most of them was just, yeah, about the same. I'm curious to see what your results are. If you have done like a settings video, or you've done some sort of settings and you've tweaked around with them, let me know what you use, because for me I didn't really discover much of a difference. However, one thing I will say is I noticed the front tyre got very hot in some particular settings and not as much as the others. Whether I was pushing just too hard or the suspension made the difference, I'm not sure. I don't know the answers to this, I'm just trying, ad-libbing I guess. Into turn 1, a little bit wide, but we will get the exit against the Ghost. The Ghost is pretty fine and dandy though. We're 34,000th of a second down, a little bit wide into turn 4, but again we can use the speed of the Honda to get out of the corner. I love this bike, absolutely brilliant. Took a while to get the Marco Simoncelli stuff right on the bike. Couldn't get it all perfectly accurate, but tried my best. I do love the look of it though. Brought a tear to my eye. Reminds me of 2011, you know. So, final corner. Lap 15 is upon us and we're going to go wide. Oh! And look at the front tyre, it is glowing red. And it's time to enter back to the pits. So now we're going to go the opposite way. We're going to look at the front preload and rear preload pushed downwards. We're going to go the opposite way now. We're going to go to -3. Or 3 on the scale. I guess it would be 3 on the scale because 8 was the plus. So already a little bit out of shape, 66 thousandths, because everything else has now dropped. Everything else has gone back to preset apart from the preload, as you could see. So now it's going to be 3 laps of trying to see if it's any different. At this point, I got I realised I probably shouldn't be focusing on the lap times. I should focus on the feeling. I should be focusing on how well it feels. Has it made an improvement? Do I feel stronger? Do I feel weaker? But I would say the lap time would tell you that. Because it depends, especially if you're someone like my friend Fuchs. He's going for world record laps in every track, pretty much. So whether he feels better or worse, he wants the best available setup for him to get faster. And that comes with its caveats. You know, it's going to be quicker, but it's going to be unstable. It might be more stable, but it's going to be slower. This is what he always deals with, and this is something I had to look into for the Scott Redding world record video with the aid of Fuchs. He gave me a few settings, and honestly I would take stability and feel confidence with the bike over speed any day of the week. Because when we tried the world record lap, when he sat with me to help me, he advised going to the soft tyres, changing the suspension, changing the aggressive power setting, and changing the brakes, and I didn't like any of it. I went straight back to the medium front and the soft rear, preset settings, and I got the world record. Well, I had the world record, that has now been taken from me. But still, I very much enjoyed that, and I learnt a lot from feeling however you feel quick, however you feel safe, however you feel stable, I say go for that setting. That's my opinion anyway, but you know, running it ragged on a setting you may not feel comfortable on, but you know it's quicker. I don't know. It's tough. The risks are just too much. I don't like crashing, I really don't. It's not something I'm proud. I don't like getting penalty time either. I take it very seriously, and I take it I take it to heart if I crash. No bike deserves to be dumped in the gravel, as we almost dumped that one. No beautiful two-wheeled machine like these should be dumped, ever, or even dropped. I know what happens, but still, that's my opinion. I feel very strongly about that one. So already on this setting, now everything else has gone back to default. I felt great. I felt like I could chuck that bike in anywhere I wanted to. The lap time's already a little bit quicker. Not dramatically, but I felt much better. I felt like this setting could be the one I stick to from now on. I just felt great. I felt like I could chuck it anywhere, and I felt like on rails. It looks a bit out of shape and looks a bit unstable, but it didn't feel that way. It felt very relaxed, very, very, very confidence-inducing. I was very happy with it. But again, pushing as hard as I want, having the confidence to slide the rear, losing time. So these are the things you have to look at. Actually, when I used to go go-karting, I felt the same way. So now we are going to change the front and rear of the spring hardness down to 3, the same as we did for the preload, and again leaving everything else as the preset. So into turn 1, with a little bit of change to the setting, not dramatic of course, only little small increments, but it's enough to change the feeling of the bike. It do seem a little bit more stable this time. Felt a bit heavier somehow. I'm going from my memory and my notes because it was a few days ago when I recorded this. It's just been trying to find the time to edit it since it's 30 odd minutes long. A little bit difficult to manage in, but with it being heavier and being more stable, it did feel a bit slower. So I think after doing maybe the 15th lap, 10 laps onwards, I did begin to feel a little bit of difference with the suspension changes, but again it still didn't feel too noticeable to the point of you could immediately go on it and go, oh no, that's not for me. It still felt quite, yeah, that's it, that seems fine, you know, doesn't bother me. Well, as you can see, a little bit later into turn 1. Turn 2, where I was very, very off, turn 4, I was very off on the previous lap. But now, we are still ahead. Because of that one moment where I went off the track, or almost off the track, I went very wide. But again, the ghost has caught us back up. So, it still proves the theory that I was so aggressive with that other bike and so out of shape, I felt more confident. And the lap time is showing, it's much quicker. And we are not even close to beating the lap time here. So it's going to be one more attempt with this particular setting, and it's still appearing that that is my favourite setting. But again, I don't know whether it's just because I was conscious of the change and I'm trying to make adjustments. I'm noticing that the front tyre is getting extremely warm. It's very difficult to decide on what's good and what's not. It's all about feeling, and I invalidated the lap here and I might as well continue because it's still a decent lap. And I generally thought that for the very first time, this particular setting I've got here is not for me. This was the only one I could probably say I don't like it. And it was quite weird to say that because it's the only setting I've not liked. But it is what it is. I'm glad we found it though. I'm honestly really curious to see if you guys are going to use this bike or whatever bikes you're using with your settings. Let me know what your settings are, because I'm curious to see if I could put your settings to the test and see how I feel. So now it's to change the front shock absorber, the rebound and compression down to 3, both each of them. And now it's a time to do another 3 laps on this Super. I'm going to go Super, that's how I'm going to pronounce it from now on, on board the Honda. So 33,000 per second up. Still that lap where I went extremely wide and out of shape there. That is my fastest one as of yet, 53.516. I actually don't even know what the world record lap is for this one. Maybe I have to check at the end. I don't think it'll be any of these because the Honda's hardly the fastest bike, but we are up by 0.3 of a second. Is that going to last? Oh, no, the coast is there already. Whether I'm going to bottle it here towards the end or if this is going to be my fastest lap, we will soon find out. A bit wide, geared it down. This is going to be the fastest lap, and it is a 53.417. Very nice. And this one, I can honestly say I didn't really feel too much difference with what we've been using so far. The setting still felt roughly about the same. But, oh, I was a bit out of shape there. Sliding the rear for, well, no apparent reason. Although sliding the rear looks amazing. Or at least braking and kicking the rear out, but it doesn't do you much favours when it comes to a lap time. So again, I don't think we're going to improve here. Down by Lorenzo amount of numbers, 99,000 per second. I seen a post on Facebook the other day saying that Cal Crutchlow is 35 or something like that, and he's going to retire at 35. So they were saying, I wonder if Rossi will retire at 46. How about Marquez then? Does that mean he's going to retire at 93? Lorenzo should have retired at 99. How about that for you? Sorry, it's the MotoGP withdrawal symptoms kicking in already. I'm not going to see anything until Sunday, and the panic of not seeing after that is going to affect me greatly. Down by 1/10, up into turn 4. And a clear Japanese sky above. That front tyre is glowing. I don't think we're going to improve here. I don't think we have what it takes to claw back 2.5 of a second. DrAce is still ahead, but DrAce is also still behind because he's a ghost. So into turn 10 for the 24th time. That's a lot, isn't it? No different to my endurance races, I guess. So, not successful with the front shock absorber. Let's change the rear shock absorbers down to 3 and let's have another go. And this will be our final setting. So this one already pants because I entered turn 1 absolutely terribly. Down 3.5 per second. Front tyre still screaming. Not as much as it was on the previous lap. Didn't realise I was so aggressive on the front brake round this track, honestly. I guess it requires a lot of trail braking. Keeps going for a bit of rear brake there as well. Turn 10, down by a ton. I think we're going to be down by a good half a second here. It's quite a lot of bike lengths to be catching up. So here we go, lap 26. Can we improve? Can we do any better? It's got to be. At this point, I just really wanted to improve on the lap time of a 53.417. You know, I'm so used to saying a 1 something. Because like, laps generally are 130, 120, 141, 151. So you're used to saying 1 something. So it's just saying a 53.4. Sounds weird. 400 kilometers I've done this bike now. I think it was like 300 when we started. But again, nowhere close. Nowhere close to the previous setting. Down 4/10. This lap time, it's going to be pants again. This suspension setting, put it in the bin. Scrap it. Because I don't think it's going to be any good for me. We'll have one more attempt. But I think I've made my mind up. I think the previous lap and the other one before, when it was just the preloads down to 3, I think that's the setting we go for from now on. Is that the winner of Sukba on the Honda? As we go around turn 5 yet again, flicking it left for turn 6. Ooh, a lot nicer exit there. We're much closer. The front tyre is still screaming. We're only down by 1/10.5. We could pinch this. And looks like we're about neck and neck with the Ghost. It's all down to turn 10. Can we access turn 10 correctly? A little bit wide. We're going to run it too deep. Unless we can get the cut back. It's going to be very close. But it's not going to be. It's time to change to my favourite setting. The suspension, the preload front and the preload rear, both at 3. 3 laps to see if we can improve upon the 53.417. Can we do it? Let's find out, shall we? Turn 1, executed pretty nicely. Flicking it left for turn 2, just gently touching the rear. Turn 3, flicking it left, holding into turn 4. Accelerating up into turn 5, a little bit wide, not as smooth as the previous few laps. But then we flick it left for turn 6, can we claw any time back on the Ghost? Doesn't seem to be so far, down by 3/10. Not going to happen this time. Coming out of turn 9, a little bit of a wheelie there, don't mind that too much. As long as we keep the front relatively pushed down, we should be okay. Trying to close a bit of time up on turn 10. Careful to get the right acceleration, we don't want to be pushing it too far and going on the green. Braking into turn 1, little bit of a slide there. Looks stylish, but you lose time. The front end almost screams no more. We're down by 1/10. A little bit out of shape, but confidence. Confidence is brewing and confidence is bubbling. Turn 5, turn 6. We're right there with the Ghost. Can we access turn 8 and turn 9 nicely? Went for a tighter line. Can we get it this time? The front end is bloody glowing again. This could be the lap. This could be the lap we improve on my favourite setting. Is it going to be? Perhaps not, unless we get the right exit. It's going to be bloody close. It's not close enough. One final attempt. Why not? I've been doing 3 laps everywhere else. Might as well do a third. This is the final attempt. A little bit too eager on the throttle there. Something I'm still learning to improve upon. 66 thousandth of a second down. Turn 4 pretty nicely, but not as good as I did beforehand. Hugging the line, yes. Can we clip the rumble strip at turn 6? Turn 7, great acceleration. We're going to claw in here. 66 thousandth of a second yet again. A little bit wide, probably not going to be able to keep. Oh, big wheelie there. Oh, that wheelie's probably done it. That wheelie has probably ruined it for us. Unless this tighter line could be key. This tighter line could be key. It's going to be neck and neck, and it's not good enough to improve. So here is our breakdown of our entire laps. Bearing in mind everything else was in 3 lap successions, so every sort of setting is dictated by 3 laps. And as you can see, pretty consistent lap times. 53s, no higher than 54s most of the time. A few mistakes here and there, but that consistency is pretty good. Amazingly, my best lap didn't have a best sector time, which I'm astonished by. Like, he didn't have one best sector, it was just more of an ideal lap. The actual perfect ideal lap is a 53.082, so it's about 4/10 better off than we are. A mad statistic there, a mad fact that I did not improve on any of the sector times in that particular lap. I love reading through this and seeing how consistent I was, because whenever I watch MotoGP and you see how consistent these boys are at the front, I kind of just did the same thing. Pretty impressive, and especially those last 3 laps. Those last 3 laps on that particular setting really prove that is my best setting. Every single one of them laps competed for a possibility of winning the fastest lap. So guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure to create this video for you. Hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Ciao for now.